Everyone wants to know what to teach their puppies, and in this series we're going to go through step by step how we take our dogs from little puppies to world-class performance dogs. I'm Zach Kaiser with American Dog Pros, and today's lesson is going to be on movement. Teaching movement to our pets in a variety of ways is very important in my eyes in having a very functional pet in the future. Today we're going to start talking about luring and how we can teach a variety of positions from a luring perspective. So what is luring and why do we like it so much? Luring is really just teaching our puppy or our dog to follow us or follow some type of specific command, but the way that we use it with our puppies and dogs that are new to us that we want to teach behaviors to is we take food in our hand and we teach them to follow it right along wherever we go. So initially, the very first thing that I do is I'll teach the puppy just to follow it around in a circle, in between my legs and around me, and just anywhere that I want them to go. Teaching the puppy to follow food in my hand. And while they're following it, they're just eating continuously. And as soon as I run out of food in my hand, they've eaten it all, then I just fill it right back up and we just keep going. It is nearly 100% rate of reinforcement where they're just getting food constantly for following my hand around. And once they're very proficient at this, I will be able to move them into all types of various positions. Into a sit, into a down, into a stand, into a middle, in between my legs position, heeling on both sides, spins, figure eights, weaving, all of those types of things we can lure them up onto various type places like dog beds and dog cots. We can teach them to go anywhere and everywhere. We can teach all types of tricks like sit pretty and roll over and all kinds of other tricks through luring. So that's one of the reasons that we like it so much. And in the beginning of luring, it's just constant feeding. They're getting rewarded for every step of the lure. Over time, when they become very proficient at these movements, they almost become automatic and very fluid. Then we will decrease the amount of reinforcement. We'll start to fade the lure. What we call fading the lure is starting to take less and less lure and add more and more verbal commands to our training. So all of our training with our pets starts with luring and then eventually fading the lure and adding a verbal command. In these videos, we're going to show you how we go from luring a pet into various positions and then how we fade those lures out and get our finished verbal command behaviors. Let's get to it. Okay, so we've got our little puppy here and we want to do some luring and just starting to teach all of the various movements that we want our puppy to know. And so I have a bunch of this Freshpet Vital food here that we really like, and we're just going to take some in both hands and I'm just going to start to lure her in one direction and have her just eat continuously out of my hand. Now she really likes to chomp on that food, so what I'll do is I'll actually push back into her, and when she backs off a little bit, then I'll let her come forward again to control some of that chomping, because she really does it hard. And if you make just a little pocket inside of your hand, you can protect yourself from getting bit a little bit. If you have a big chomper for a puppy, a very motivated or working type puppy. And then I'm just going to guide her slowly through various positions. We've got a figure eight through the legs. We have a little heeling with the head up, spin into middle. We can back up. We can come over into a heel on the other side, come forward with the head up, spin back into middle again, and then we can do the weaving, which is one leg forward and under the leg. You see how I'm switching hands. I've got food in both hands. If she starts to go to the ground, I'll try to interrupt that and get her right back onto the food in my hand. Good. I can start to make my pivots in the middle because I want to teach pivoting. Good. She's really heavy with the food. And so I started to run out of food with my right hand. So I just fill up again with the right hand out of the bucket. So you see me pushing her back because she's really chomping. Good. And then I can lure her over something like this and teach her confidence climbing on top of things. Mm-mm. Good. Come on. Good. So I had to give her a little bump on the nose there just to back her off a little bit because she's just really going too hard on the chewing, the biting. Getting more food here with this hand. And we can just move through all these positions. And then with this puppy, I don't need to make this any more exciting than it is. She's honestly too excited, and that's why she's chomping my hands off. But if you wanted to, you can make a little run. Oop, 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 oop. Go ahead. Boop, boop, boop. And you can make kind of a chasing. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. And have her chase that food. Make a little bit of auditory stimulation. And you can see how she runs into the food and she's getting very excited. So this is basically luring. You can see we do a spin both directions. We can back her up, lure into the down, lure into stand, come forward, back up, come around in front. We can teach all of these different movements. And teaching movement and teaching our puppies how to move with us is one of my favorite things to do, because as they get older, they're going to get very proficient at how to move around with us, and it just makes life easier. Good. And if this is a form of communication for your puppy that they're going to get very comfortable with and very trusting. And then when you want to teach them things in the future, like climbing onto various places, if you want to do agility or something like that with your puppy and you want to lure them onto A-frames or playground equipment or whatever it might be, you have that communication, that trust with them to develop that communication. So we're able to teach sit, lay down, stand. But anyways, those are the basics of luring. And like I said, over time, we'll fade the lure. If I do this enough times, this is luring the spin. If I do that enough times, over a couple of weeks, I'll only need to just do this little movement to make it. And so we'll refine these and get these down to little movements that make these behaviors. And once we have little movements that make the behaviors happen, then and the puppy's very proficient. Take a break. Okay, so that's a beginning step to luring. You see I was able to show my puppy maybe 9 different behaviors there through luring. I wasn't using any verbal commands, just creating the movement, creating these positions, creating fluency and moving with me. And over time, what we're gonna do is fade those lures down to very simple and short hand commands that are very efficient and prompt those behaviors quickly and predictably. Then we'll add the verbal commands at that point, and it will be very efficient, and we'll get a great transfer to the verbal commands. A lot of people are doing this step too early. I think you should make proficiency through luring, get the behaviors exactly how you want them, fade it down to a small, simple hand command, and then add the verbal cues after that. We'll go through that on how we do that as this puppy grows up. And thank you guys so much for watching, and look out for the next one.